Ladies and gentlemen, this is Rick Young. This is another segment of What's in Your Hand here at GHCR.NYC. And can you believe it? These guys built a radio studio in the projects. And now that we have a pandemic going on, we're doing it online. We'll be in the studio, but we're doing it online. So I have a very special guest I'm excited about my guest. She's an executive and career coach, a motivational speaker, a work-life expert, employee engagement, and founder of the Women's Mosaic, Kristina Leonardi. Did I say it correctly?
Yep, Kristina Leonardi.
Okay. Kristina, what is employee engagement?
It's getting, people at a company to do their job better, to be happy to be doing the job that they're doing, to be more productive and engaged, enthusiastic.
You mean like what I'm doing right now?
Exactly. Yeah, when
okay.
Work doesn't feel like work,
Before we started, I got a phone call. It was from the DNC. They told me that they were going to send a car to pick you up, put you on the private jet, fly you to Milwaukee. You're going to be speaking at the DNC, the Democratic National Convention. And I want to know what your message is going to be, because the world is going to be watching your message. I want you to be the most outstanding speaker. Barack is not speaking tonight. Jill, right, speaking.
Or Michelle.
Yeah, or Michelle. So I don't know what your politics is. I don't know if you Democrat, Republican. We don't want to get into that. But what I do want to say, I want to know, here it is. Your shot. You're speaking to the world. Kristina Leonardi. Coming to the microphone. Huh?
Leonardi, not Leonardo.
Oh, right. Yeah, okay. What is your message to the world?
My message to the world is heal your life. Take care of yourself. Figure out who you are and what you're supposed to be doing with your life, because we are all here now in 2020 for a reason. We're not 8 and we're not 85. And I think it's really important to take responsibility for creating the world and the country that you want to see, that you want to live in. And we can't just outsource that to our political leaders. It's up to each individual to take responsibility, to align themselves with their gifts, talents, abilities, passions. All of those things make you up for a reason. You're a unique person that has a unique job to do, especially at this particular moment in history, which is one of the most extraordinary times you can be alive, quite frankly. So even as challenging as it might be, the Chinese character, they say this, and I'm not sure if this is true or not, but the Chinese character for crisis is also opportunity. So
nice.
This is really an opportunity to transform things in a way that's better. So everybody's freaking out because it's, the way of life as we knew it is pretty much over. So there's a grieving that happens with that, and we can't go back. And so I think the first thing is people just have to understand that way of life and that way of being, both from a microcosm, your own life, to the macrocosm, to society, the culture that we live in, it's changing and you can't do anything about it. But what you can do is align yourself with the changes and let go of the things that probably you needed to let go of all along, and really focus on the things about, maximizing the most of your life, the most of your, again, what is your job? What is the thing that you love to do that nobody else can do quite like you can? Because that's your job. And so the more of us that do our jobs, That's how we're going to change and evolve the world. And sometimes, and it doesn't have to be like a huge job. So, you know, you don't have to be like the next, like Martin Luther King or Mother Teresa or anything like that. It really just means honoring yourself and taking care of yourself. And so the other thing, you know, it literally could just mean healing your life, because Christiane Northrup has a great quote. She says, the greatest gift that you can give to the world is a healed life. Because the more that we're all healed, if you're peaceful, if you're healthy, if you're sort of, you know, mentally well, if you're able to interact with people in a very magnanimous, you know, non-confrontational way, that spreads. So we all can contribute to making the world a better place. So my message is really to take responsibility for your life and for your own happiness and for your own healing. And that's what's going to really change the world.
Right. But here's another point. If that's not that easy, because if it was, maybe everybody would be doing it. So it's not as easy as it might sound.
Never
What's that?
Never said it was easy. Said that's what we got to do. No, it's actually the opposite of easy. That's why taking responsibility. This is why, especially our culture, you know, we just want a pill for everything. You know, we just want either someone else to do it for us, or we want a pill or a rule or something to do everything for us. So taking responsibility, it takes a lot more effort, and it's a lot more uncomfortable, and you know, and at times painful, but you got to go through the pain to release the pain and get to the gold, you know?
Do you have a success pill?
There is no such thing.
Do you have a personal development pill? Because I think I might be taking.
It's, you know, everyone has their own journey.
Yeah.
So, you know, the personal development pill is know thyself.
Ooh, wow. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Because, you know, and that's as old as, I guess, Plato or whoever said it, one of the Greek, you know, philosophers. If you know yourself, if you know your strengths, your weaknesses, where you come from, where you want to be going, the things that you are trying to chisel and create and make yourself into being, and also, like, think about it this way, like Michelangelo, when he sculpted David, it was really, he said it was about taking away to reveal the beauty. It wasn't like he was building something. So sometimes it's like personal development is releasing and letting go of things so that your true nature can really shine. And, you know, and then it's also sort of developing the different muscles that you have that might be there, but not really developed. I'll give you an example, because you, Rick, you saw me for the first time as a speaker, and but I'm also a coach. And so in coaching, you're just kind of one-on-one with people, right? And that's my comfort zone. That's easy for me. I can relate to people. I can get in there. I'm like, I got X-ray vision and supersonic hearing, and I can figure out your life really quick, and I can see where you're stuck and get you on track and aligned. And so, yeah, so a personal development like doctor would be like me, like a life chiropractor, basically like looking at your life, looking at your career and your personal life and seeing what's out of whack and then helping you put it back in alignment. That's easy and natural for me. It's like breathing. I don't even think about it. Standing in front of a room of people, or even doing this interview and just talking to people about what I think and understand about things, is not my comfort zone, not something that's natural, but it's a muscle. And I might have mentioned this in the talk that you came to. I mean, I've been talking now for like, this is my 13th year. Actually Monday was my 13th anniversary as a coach, and I've been speaking for about the same amount of time. So I'm certainly more comfortable now. But when I first started speaking, it was because I had something to say. It wasn't because I'm like, you know, there are people that can just go in front of an audience and they like to perform and they like to present, and it doesn't really matter what they're presenting. Like that's not me. I'm like an introvert. I want to be in the background. I want to be like the producer or the director or like behind the scenes. But I had something to say. And so I kind of put myself out there and I said what I had to say. And I always got positive feedback. And so I thought, okay, I guess this is something, because I'm not so comfortable doing it, but people are really benefiting from it. And so I'm gonna go with that, and I'm gonna keep pushing myself in that direction and see what happens. And so the more that I did it, the more comfortable I get. It's still not my natural zone, but that's like a development part versus like just an excavation and just letting yourself kind of like, it's just there. And so, Eleanor Roosevelt says, do the thing that you're most, I'm terrible remembering quotes, but, do the thing that you fear the most, kind of a thing. And that's a good example of doing something that was terrifying to me. I mean, I used to get stiff necks. I used to like always, get bronchitis before, be like hacking, like I would, terrible. I mean, I would hate it. So, this is what I'm saying is like, so thinking about in your life, what are the things that, scare the bejesus out of you, and there's something in there. And then also the things that are as natural as breathing to you that you don't even think they're anything special, because you're just like, I'm just talking to people, but like most people can't talk to people the way I talk to them or listen and then connect the dots.
But here's the thing I got. Yeah. First of all, I think I got there early because I had a front row seat. So the room was full.
Yeah.
Room was full. And here's the thing. Here's what I definitely got. When you spoke, I felt that you cared about your audience. And when you feel that, you really take in what the person says. Can you speak to the fact that I was able to feel that you cared about?
Yeah, that makes me cry.
Huh?
That makes me want to cry because I really, because I really do care, and the fact that you picked that up, makes me really happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I couldn't do it otherwise. Because like I said, I'm an introvert. I would rather be like, behind the scenes in the audience, never raise my hand. Like, I would be hiding. But I'm so passionate about helping people. And if what I say helps people, as, people have responded to me over the years, that's the only reason I do it. And so, and here's the other thing, and I think also, and I really appreciate that comment, because I really practice what I preach. And so what I mean by that is that a lot of my clients, and usually when I'm talking about people who are always in their head. So our society runs on our left brain, our logic, our intellect, and all this kind of stuff. And people are not in their heart and they're not in their bodies. And so I do a lot of work trying to get people in their bodies and in their hearts and in their feelings, and integrating their mind with their heart, their intellect, their logic with their feelings, because that's where your power, that's where true authenticity is. And so I think that's also because I'm actually a terrible speaker in the traditional sense. I have a ton of filler words. I'm not organized with, necessarily. I speak with my hand, like in the sort of speaking world of a polished speaker. I'm absolutely not that, right? But because, like you said, I care about my audience and I care about what I'm saying, it comes from a deep place here, that I'm connecting heart to heart with everybody in my audience. If you interrupt me, because I'm not speaking from my head, I don't even know what I say half the time. I'll just sort of get a vibe of something, and I'll just sort of talk because I'm talking from this deeper place in myself. So if you ask me something, or if I had to memorize something, or if I had to present something, I'm terrible, because that would have to come from here. And I am not good at that. So as a speaker, as a motivational speaker, it is about energy. And I think that's what people pick up is the energy that I'm bringing through in combination with the words. And in combination maybe with the way I put my thoughts together or the perspectives that I have, which might be a little different or might be common sense, but no one's really talking about them. But I think at the end of the day, you know, it's your passion that has to lead the way, which comes from your heart. And this is what I'm also trying to get people to do for themselves in their own lives, because you can be up here and then it's like analysis paralysis. You're not going to get anything done and you're not going to be as effective. But if you connect your heart, to me, your heart and your gut, like this is the hard drive, right? This is your power. This just executes. After you get the information and the power, then it goes here. And then this is just to sort of do the busy work, you know, it's just the execution. Yeah. So what a lovely comment. Thank you so much, Rick, for that.
Okay, so do you believe in signs? Is there a thing called signs? Like, do you believe in like that happen for a reason? There are different signs. Do you believe in that?
Signs? It's so funny. I thought you said science at first. I'm like,
signs. Signs. Like something happened and it's a sign or a reason.
Yeah, I believe in synchronicity. I believe that there are no coincidences. I believe
no coincidences. Okay.
When you align,
when you started to speak, just for your information, the TV's on. And while you were starting to speak, guess who's on the TV? Her name happened to be Michelle Obama as you were speaking. I mean, I'm just saying, I should have turned the camera so you could see it. I don't know if you believe me, but
I believe you.
She was, so I'm like, oh, do.
But actually, she's a great example why people resonate with her. People resonate with her because she speaks from her heart. And she's a very, to me, she's very integrated, right? She's very integrated with her head and her heart, and she cares, and that comes across, and that's what makes her such an effective speaker as well.
But how can she care? She said, it is what it is. She said, it is what it is.
What was she? You know what? I actually didn't see the speech. I saw like one that very, very end, but what did she say that is what it is about?
You know what? I don't even remember, but I know it was a reference to someone else, and she was saying because they had said it in one of their speeches. It is what it is, and so I guess she was kind of throwing some shade back.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, she's got to do something.
Huh?
You got to get something in there, probably. You know. She goes
okay,
high.
so
she's mostly going high, though.
Huh?
Mostly going high.
Yeah. Right. Go high. When they go low, we go high. So I interviewed this guy once. One of my favorite interviews, but just the whole topic. He wrote a book. I don't remember the name of the book, but he got paid to go into companies to teach them how to have fun. Right? So I studied this thing called personal development, personal growth, and all this stuff. How can you make that fun? Just straight up. Well, even kids would say, wait a minute, I like this personal development. Why? How can we make it fun, Kristina?
How can you make personal development fun or corporate training fun?
Personal development, personal growth, fun.
Okay, because it's different when you're talking about doing it in a company versus when you're just doing it for yourself.
Right.
So, but you're talking about doing it like for an individual.
Well, yeah, sharing it with people, share it, make it fun.
That's an interesting question. I'm kind of serious about it, so you're making me think. I mean, it's fun. It's fun in the sense, it's a good question. It's fun in the sense that you should indulge yourself in the things that give you pleasure in a healthy way. And, allow yourself and be mindful of maybe when you're getting too serious. So, I do find actually that people, especially as we get older, we unless you have kids, right? You're not playing as much, like just for the sake of playing. People, our society is all about work, like, or it has to be productive, or there has to be some like outcome, like there has to be some result. But if you can just play for the sake of play's sake, that's actually part of personal development. If you can just rest, I have a, I work, a lot of people just have a hard time just sitting still and resting, or just allowing themselves to have like a lazy day in bed. Like, God forbid, in New York City, you're like not doing something. I mean, now it's a little different, but I think that allowing yourself to feel good, and I mean this all in a healthy way, right? Because there are lots of ways that we can, feel good, drugs, TV, or sex. I mean, there's lots of things that we can do to feel good. That is a different story, because that's basically like masking or numbing things that you don't want to deal with. So that's a different kind of feeling good. But I'm talking about feeling good, just allowing yourself to be present with the joy of being alive and experiencing the good fun parts of life. And there is a certain sense of like, becoming childlike in that. That's why, they talk about, finding that childlike essence in you and just playing, just enjoying yourself, laughing, finding ways that you can laugh. I mean, and there's obviously very like physiological benefits to all this, different chemicals that are released, oxytocin and all these, there's all physiological benefits to having fun. So, that has to be part of your personal development diet, let's say. And it's like fun. What I used to say is like pleasure is productive, like rest is productive in and of itself. If your body doesn't rest, if your body doesn't have, your mind doesn't have that time to like recalibrate, and disconnect from like the heaviness of the world, it's going to weigh down on you. And that's also when you get the most inspiration, creativity comes in, when you're fun and you're light and your energy is light. That's when the answer to the problem can finally come. That's when the eureka moment, that's when, the solution to whatever issue that's coming on, because you're relaxed, right? So, we're always in the yang, right? If you got yin and yang. So like yin is the receptive state of being, and yang or yang is the assertive, aggressive, the go. Or then you can also equate that also with the right brain, left brain. The left brain is linear, analytical, do, right brain, receptive, creative, intuitive. And so we have to always have the balance of the two. And it just, our society is mostly yang, mostly left brain. So whatever you can do to balance that out and to mitigate all of that, you're gonna be better off for it.
The reason why I'm laughing, because I know this is going. I kind of knew this was going to be a good interview when I first thought about us doing this, but I know it's a good interview because we're like halfway through and we just started. I got a whole bunch of questions I haven't even got to. That
I
to
tend
me,
to ramble too. So
what's that?
I tend to ramble a little bit. So
Yeah, but that says to me, good interview, because like we halfway through. I've been in interviews where 5 minutes I'm like struggling for questions, and this one is not. I got a whole bunch of questions and not a lot of time left. So, but I'm enjoying it. I'm really enjoying this.
yeah, and I could go a little over an hour if you need to, but
yeah. Was this thing called? Well, I got to take care of mom, so I got some mom stuff to do. Creative imagination. What is this? What is this thing? I feel that people shut down once as a child, they have it. As they get older, I mean, they use it, but not the way it could be used at a higher level. Creative imagination. Can you speak to creative imagination?
Well, again, it's sort of the left brain, right brain thing that I was talking about. So our world is so oriented to the left brain, to logic, to intellect, to survival, to productivity, to numbers, to um, A to B to C. Your right brain is that creative, intuitive, um, and you can also look at it as masculine, feminine. So the left brain is masculine, the right brain's feminine. That has nothing to do with gender. But so actually for homework, I actually give my clients a lot of times as homework to do like painting, to do pottery, to do drawing, to dance, to move. And so you can't really expect to be creative if your right brain is totally shut down and if you're only thinking about being productive in the traditional sense. And so, and also, I think it depends on how people are built. Some people are built with, that are just more creative and more imaginative. But if you're not giving yourself some time to rest and to play, you're not going to spark that imagination. And if you don't have kids, kids are usually, good to sort of, because they're already living in that space. And so then you can sort of resonate with where they're at and kind of tap into that. But if you don't have, kids around, it has to be, it's a little more conscious, but I think it will come naturally if you do the things that will develop and strengthen the right side of your hemisphere, the right brain stuff. And I also think, right now, here's another thing that I want to say about this is we've become such a consumeristic society. So people have become incredibly passive and we're just basically consuming. So we're consuming everything. We're consuming obviously goods and we're consuming media and we're consuming entertainment. We're passive, right? It's a passive consumption of information in other people's art and other people's talent and other people's imagination. And I think that that's part of what causes depression, because you're just sort of in this state of passive, like whatever is there to be consumed. And so when I think about creativity, I think about what can you initiate for yourself? What can you do that engages all of your senses and that either create something that wasn't there before. And creativity is not just painting or art. Creativity is being creative in the way you like spend time with people or cook, or how you rearrange your bedroom, or it's you taking agency of your own life and taking actions on just your own inspiration. That's creativity. And I think people have been kind of brainwashed and distracted by a million different things. I mean, this thing, all social media and the myriad of distractions, it becomes very easy to be passive, a passive consumer rather than an active creator. And so people again have to be conscious of that and take be disciplined, or just not even be disciplined, but have an awareness, because I think most people aren't even aware that they're just consuming. Because it's just the norm, it's just the norm. And PS, by the way, that's what the powers that be want us to be. That's how they're making all the money off of us, because we're just consuming everything. And we're not thinking for ourselves. We're not creating solutions for ourselves. That kind of goes back to the beginning where I said take responsibility, and not just wait for the answers to come or the information to come, but seek it out, create new possibilities. But that's creativity. Creativity is tapping into that eternal part of yourself too. And we all have that in us. We all have that spark in us. And we're not encouraged, again, because the powers that be, they can't make money off of us if we're creative, in a sense.
So I'm wearing this cap and it says success habits.
No, it says keys to success.
Oh, wrong hat. That's the other. I got my other hat over there. Success habits. I wear that one more than the other one. So keys.
Yeah.
We need some. Let's give us 3 keys to success. 3 keys.
Know thyself. Definitely. Know thyself. Take responsibility. And have compassion for yourself and others.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Nobody
Wow.
ever asked me that question before. That was just what came to me. Because if you know yourself, you know where you're at on your journey, you know the things that you need to do for yourself, you know the things that you want to achieve, you know the experiences that you want to have. You're in touch with your feelings and your emotions and your own thoughts. So again, you have a certain sense of control over your life, a control over your time and your energy, and you're empowered in that. And then you take responsibility. So knowing that you're empowered and that you have all of that within you, then you take responsibility for making your life what it is. And in making your life what it is, you're automatically, people are benefiting from that. And then everyone, there's the saying, be kind, everyone is fighting their own battle. And so having compassion, compassion with ourselves, with our own battles, because to know yourself and to take responsibility is a lot of work. And it's a lot of ups and downs, and it's a lot of, pain, sweat, and tears. It's its own thing. And so to be compassionate with yourself in the process allows you to be compassionate with others, because they're in their own journey and their own process. And if we all just did that, we would have a lot less crime, fighting, divorce, violence, all of those things. Yeah. Success habits.
I wear this one most of the time, so I forgot that I thought I had this one on, but I wore it.
So can I give you some success habits? I'll give you a really good success habit that I think will change people's lives. So the thing that I always recommend, if you see any talk that I ever do, I always start with breathing. And so what I recommend is people start their day 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes to just sit with themselves. You can be drinking like a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, maybe you have a prayer or a mantra or an affirmation. Maybe you're just going to put your hand on your heart. You're going to feel your heartbeat. You're going to take some breaths. It's about you connecting in with yourself so that you're in control of your thoughts and your energy, and that you set an intention for the day, and that you're in control of the day rather than the day is just like pulling at you from all different directions. But take that time to set the foundation internally to connect with yourself is like a huge thing. I mean, I do it. It's like I can't leave the house without. It's like it's the first thing that I do, and I mean I do it much longer than 15 minutes, but just to connect in with yourself, to remind you that you're in there, that you're the one that's in charge of your life. And then when you're transitioning, from your evening, from your day to your evening, some of your work day or whatever you're doing during the day to your evening, I also like to lay flat on my back on the floor, usually, always actually, and let the day kind of process. And then it's another time to reconnect with yourself. And so in the morning, it's more of kind of like setting intention and connecting with yourself. It's sort of a blank slate. When you're transitioning from the day to the evening, you're releasing, right? You're releasing the stresses of the day. You're releasing and you're kind of processing and reconnecting with yourself. And so to have those 2 anchors every day, if you can just put those 2 anchors to your day every day, your life will change. So that, if you take nothing away, like people can like start implementing that, today.
What is that thing called? Personal growth. What is that? I hear people saying personal growth. What is that? What is that thing?
The way I define it, I mean, I believe that I believe that we have a soul, and it's about the evolution of our soul.
That's wow, really, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Because it's deep, and we're here for, I mean, I believe in reincarnation, so I believe that it's, there's multiple lifetimes that we have, but it doesn't really matter if you believe in that or not. You still, every moment is precious, and I believe there's a purpose, and the purpose is to grow and evolve, to grow and evolve and to be the best version of ourselves, and to heal stuff. And, healing is very much a part of personal growth. And I'm not sure that a lot of people who think about personal growth understand that there is a healing component to it. Because it's like if you, I'm terrible with my analogies, but like, if you, have a tumor or something, and I'm talking about metaphorical, like things can't flow. So you have to get rid of that tumor. You have to get rid of that block. And that requires healing in order for the other things to flow. And so to me, personal growth is this journey of working on different aspects of ourselves, confronting different things that come up as they come up, so that we can then expand more and be more of who we are, and just keep going and keep going and keep going. But if you don't have the healing part of it, I think it's that's why people get stuck. And you can read every personal growth book, you can go to every personal development seminar, you can listen to every great speaker, but if you don't do the work, you don't do the work, it's gonna change.
Wow.
That has to be embodied. That's in your body and your spirit and your emotions. It's not just mental. Goes back to what I was saying before. Most people just live on this mental, intellectual place. But you've got to take that information and integrate it into your body. Yeah.
Wow.
And that's
Guess what?
Yeah.
Kristina, I think we can actually end the interview right there. Because there's no more to be said.
No.
There's nothing else to be said. Like, there was not a commercial, but there was Allen Iverson, a basketball player, and a reporter asked him something about practice. And he said, "Practice? You talking about practice?" I mean, he made it. It was like, and he made videos about it. It was like a big deal. But people like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, these guys practice. They practice hard. And what you said to me was right in line with that. Man, time is flying. Okay, so I'm trying to decide which question, because I got so many, and
we can always do another one if you want, Rick. We can always do a part.
Yeah, we were gonna do another one, but let me hit you with this one. I'm gonna get I have to get this one in there. I want Kristina Leonardi to give me her ultimate dream goal, like the fantasy, like, but it's got to be like crazy, like where I say, "Oh, no way," or everybody says, "No way," but it's got to be outlandish, outrageous. Give me Kristina Leonardi's personal outrageous goal. Outrageous.
Okay. I would like to have a book that is an evergreen book that people could refer to long after I'm gone, to help them grow and evolve and be the best version of themselves and have the most fulfilled, meaningful, and peaceful life. So, there's a book that I recommend to all my clients called You Can Heal Your Life, which I'm sure you know about.
Louise Hay?
Yeah. So if I could leave a message with people that is as evergreen and powerful, and that resonates with people in a way that, again, long after I'm gone, it's something that people will benefit from. Yeah.
She did a wonderful job. I like the work she did. Louise Hay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why does she resonate with you so much?
Because it's about healing, right? It's about how we can again take responsibility for our lives, how we can um it's about love, you know, it's about love, it's about self-love, and it's about the possibilities. Like we don't have to suffer, you know, as much as we make ourselves suffer. I mean, you know, I'm there are certainly stresses and things in the world, but we don't have to suffer, I guess, as much as we do. And again, the less people that suffer, the better we're all going to be. Because a lot of what's happening is people are just in pain, right? And so everyone's pain, you're just projecting pain on each other. And also, or your pain is turning in on itself and becoming illness, physical illness. And so if we can just work on that, we would just make the world like a whole better place. So it's, you know, thank you for asking me that question because I never had to actually articulate that before. That's probably, I think that's probably the biggest goal. I mean, you know, I'd like to have a nice house in the Hudson Valley, um, you know, but I mean, I've been pretty consistent and committed with my own life, my own journey, and not deviating at all from it. And this, you know, lockdown period, whatever you want to call it, has really shown me that all of the work that I've done for the past, you know, 15, 20 years has really prepared me to get people through this time and to really because this is a time of transformation. And so this is my whole life has been about that and has been about refining, you know, what that means and working with hundreds and hundreds of people, hundreds and hundreds, yeah, at least maybe not thousands, but I think hundreds and hundreds of people, you know, over the past 15, 20 years, whether it's through coaching or through the Women's Mosaic, my nonprofit, and sort of understanding people. I mean, I'm a people expert and a personal growth expert. And so understanding basically how life works and fits together and how do you navigate and make life work for you and how do you, again, be the best version of yourself, you know, in that process. And I'm actually giving a talk for those of you who are interested, who are listening, on Monday, the 24th, I'm giving a talk, a Zoom talk called Self-Care in the Midst of Sea Change, you know, navigating these times of transition. So people can sign up for my website. That's probably the best, my mailing list. So you can text Clearly Kristina to 22828. You'll get on my mailing list and or you can email me, you know, Google me, I'm everywhere, you know, follow me on social media. But I would love, you know, people are really interested in exploring that further. That's a talk that I'm going to do. And obviously I can work with people one-on-one as well.
Give that contact information one more time.
So you can go to KristinaLeonardi.com. You can go to any of my social media is at Clearly Kristina. So Twitter, Facebook, Instagram is probably like the best, I would say, Clearly Kristina. And you can see the link in the bio at Clearly Kristina on Instagram has the links for my group coaching, my one-on-one, and this talk that I mentioned. But to get on my mailing list, which is really the best way to stay in touch with what I'm doing, and I send out my essays every week. As you know, Rick, I send out these personal growth essays. I should have a copy of my book here. You can go to Amazon and get my book. So Google me on Amazon, and I have a book called Personal Growth Gab. But you can
Personal Growth Gap.
Personal Growth Gab.
Oh, Gab. Okay.
Yeah, Personal Growth Gab. Again, if people Google me, it should come up. But if you text Clearly Kristina to 22828, then you'll get on my mailing list and you'll get all my updates.
So why is Kristina Leonardi here? Why is she here?
To help people heal and to help them grow.
Well, I guess Louise Hay is smiling right now, proud, smiling and proud.
Yeah.
I can imagine. And she's that kind of person. I have never met her, but I could see her appreciating you, acknowledging her, and saying what you just said. I think she would love that. That's just my personal opinion.
I don't think that I'm carrying on some of her legacy. I mean, I'm very different from her, but I certainly, really resonate with her philosophy. And I think the way I heal people, it's not your traditional sense, because I think my gifts, are my words, right? It's, like you said earlier, the same person could say the same words maybe that I say, but because of who I am and how I say them and how I've integrated my life, people feel my words, right? The words resonate. The words are going to have an alchemical effect on people, So whether it's I'm speaking in an interview like this, which I'm starting to do more of, or in a room full of 60 people, or one-on-one.
Wait a minute, you're doing interviews like this?
This is my second one.
This is different.
Not like this.
You ain't gonna find no interview like this one.
True. Yeah.
Boxer from Harlem, radio host.
You ask amazing questions. I must say, you're an excellent interviewer. Your questions are really profound. I really appreciate it.
The kid from Harlem, former professional. I was a professional boxer. Did you know that?
Yeah, I think I.
So. I'm just doing my best. Actually, I'm not doing my best, but I'm doing what I do.
Yeah.
I'm doing what I do.
But clearly you are, because for you to have the questions that you have and the comments that you've made, that shows to me the work that you've done.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, and my writing too. And so I think hopefully, when people read my essays every week, send out the essay every Friday. And my goal is to make people think a little different about their lives and to see things like I connect dots and things that I think I have a very unique perspective, and I think I see things very differently than most people. And there's a lot of reasons for that, but that's what I'm finding, which is only a new revelation, because it's just normal to me. It's just how I think. It's just how I see things. I don't think it's anything special. But then I'm learning, oh yeah, no, not everyone gets this. Not everyone connects these dots. Not everyone sees things this way. Not everyone can get just right to the root of it. So I'm kind of like a word surgeon, I can just kind of get in there.
Let me ask you this, Michelle. I was going almost said Michelle. Michelle was coming out of my mouth. Being tall. Growing up, did you have any issues about being tall, very, very tall, or tall?
So yeah, people that are watching, they don't know I'm 6 feet tall. So I'm 6 feet tall with no shoes on. There was one or two other girls like that. We were, there's a couple of us that were tall. It was never, here's the two things that I would say about that. It wasn't really an issue growing up, except for the fact that I insisted, I refused to play basketball because I'm just because I'm tall doesn't mean I have to play basketball. I refuse, I'm not going to play into that,
Wow.
I played some sports. I was a first baseman. So I played softball and I could get anything within a 10-foot radius of the first base,
Just for your information, they usually put the tall people on first base.
Right. Because I could stretch. I literally catch everything. I was a pro, but I could catch anything within a 10-foot radius. So, and I like at volleyball, I just like to spike, I just like to be at the net and spike the ball.
Yeah.
But no, I danced and I played softball. But here's the thing about being tall, and I think I might have mentioned this in the talk that you went to, because I do talk about it. There's no accident the package that we come in, right? So I said to you before, I'm afraid of being in front of people and speaking. I told you about that. And I just want to be in the background and hide. Now, when you're 6 feet tall, it's really hard to be in the background and hide. So there's a reason why I have this physicality, to learn how to take up space and to be in front of people, and to use that, to use that. I think there is a physical. So when I am speaking, there is a certain, I have big energy, because I've learned to develop and tap into that. But again, that was something that was developed, but it was like, you can't hide when you kind of look like me. It's very hard. You can't just be in the background. So being tall, I mean, look, I had issues growing up because I couldn't find freaking pants that were long enough, like that. That was an issue, I really, my height's all in my legs. So in theaters, the old Broadway theaters, I have to, I can't really fit my legs in them, or in an airplane. But I think the thing about my height, more than anything relevant to this conversation, is that I had to grow into my height. And I had to inhabit the space within my body and allow myself to be seen, and to use the strength of my body and the sort of bigness of my body. And I'm only just really, embracing that even more of just, just owning the bigness of myself, which is physical and energetic,
Yeah, the other thing, but see, you are tall, and you see that right away, but it's like you have a gentleness about yourself that comforts people right away. You don't come with aggression. You're very gentle, almost like, was it Tai Chi or something like that? You come with a gentleness, That's what I picked up.
So happy that you say that.
No, that's what I picked. I mean, I was there. I was front row watching everything.
Yeah.
So that's what I saw.
But I think that's the heart part of it. I think it's because I care, So the gentleness is the gentleness of we're all fragile human beings. And I'm just as fragile as you guys are, but I have some things that I can say that might help you,
But there are some people that are tall, they use it to their advantage in an aggressive manner. Once they figure out people might be intimidated, they try to use that to their advantage. Some people.
You know what? Actually, I'll tell you a funny story. The one time this just came into the one time I kind of did that. I don't know if you guys know. Do you know who Carl Icahn is? No. Carl Icahn. There's a Carl Icahn on Randall's Island, the Carl Icahn Stadium. He's like a gazillionaire. He's like a gazillionaire. He was like a corporate raider. ICAHN. You'll see his name on the stadium on Randall's Island. And he has a bad reputation as a bad billionaire, And a couple of years ago, I think it was 2016, I was at an event, and he's pretty tall. And I had the guts to go up to him, and I just oh, hi, can I meet you? And in his face, because I was tall, I was like, use your power for good.
Wow.
Kind of joking, but kind of not. But I think, in a situation like that, I definitely used my physicality,
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. To go power to power, yeah. I don't know. That's what I just thought of that.
I probably should have ran this question a little earlier, but I want to get it in. There's a few that I want to get in, but I want to get this one in. Here's a question I feel that many people, including me, we have issues. And why a lot of problem is because of lack of communication. People do not know how to communicate. Yeah. Divorces, arguments, fights, wars, this thing called communication. Can you speak to communication, Kristina? I mean, you're a communicator. You are a communicator.
It all goes back to know thyself and do those anchors. Okay, because what's happening is that no one is listening to themselves. So if you don't know what you're thinking or what you're feeling, how are you able to communicate that effectively? And also, how are you able to listen effectively? So if you know yourself and if you've done the work and then you're with someone, you can gauge in a better way where they're at. So, you know, you can develop a sensitivity once you're sensitive to yourself. Is this other person just going through their own stuff and they're kind of taking out on me, or are they present with themselves, and are two present people then interacting? Usually, yeah.
Wow.
Because usually what's happening is that you're just trying to get your agenda out. You know, you're just trying, and you're not really listening. You're just sort of speaking at someone, not with them. And so you learn how to listen. It's more about listening than anything. People don't know how to listen because they don't know how to be present with themselves. When you can really listen, then you can hear. And then also, you know, you can more effectively communicate, because you can, again, it's not always about what you say, but it's about how you say it. And if you can tap into that compassion, remember I said that was one of the 3 keys, you can say something that's confrontational or harsh, but you can say it in a sort of a compassionate, loving way, you know. And the other thing that is happening that, you know, is a problem, is that we're all in pain, and we're acting out of the pain. So if you have these childhood wounds that have never been healed, a lot of times it's our like 4-year-old that's like talking, or our 13-year-old that's talking. It's not our fully matured self. It's our wounded self, you know, that's talking. So you have wounded selves talking to other wounded selves, and it's a big mess. We don't have good examples, because it's also worse, you know, we haven't had a good example. We don't have a society that really teaches us how to be adults, like mature adults. We just don't have that society. Again, why? Because, you know, people can control us. They just want us to consume. Who, you know, they don't want us to be full-fledged adults and things for ourselves, but whatever. So if you're, you know, if you are a truly mature person, then you can bring that maturity. People say, oh, it's like, you know, take the high road or whatever. But to me, it's more of like taking the mature road and really, you know, again, it's having awareness, compassion, it's active listening. And it's, again, if you resolve your own pain, you're not going to be acting out of that pain. So all of the scapegoating that goes on, all of the scapegoating and projection is like, I'm in pain and you're the cause of it. So I'm just gonna, you know, lash out at you, or I'm gonna talk to you in a nasty way because I'm in pain. It has nothing to do with that person. You know, I mean, sometimes there are things that happen, but again, it's like, how are we talking about it with each other? And because no one is taking the time to deal with their own stuff, you know, whether it's regular therapy or other different modalities, or even just doing those 2 anchors that I mentioned. If you are in touch with yourself and your thoughts and your feelings, and you confront the uncomfortable things that come up, and if you let go of bad habits, you know, then you come as a more integrated whole person to any situation, and then you will be a better communicator. And to your point of why people resonate and feel me, it's because I'm coming from like a very authentic place. And the only reason that I've been able to get to this authentic place to be able to speak like this is because of all the work that I've done, and all the tears that I've cried, and all of the heartache that I've had, and all of the tools that I employ to get me to this place. That's the only reason why I'm able to speak like this. Otherwise, you know, I'd be like just like everybody else. And Lord knows I'm not perfect, by the way, you know, but it goes back to doing the work. And it goes back to, you know, everyone has to take responsibility to heal their own lives. And we just want to keep outsourcing it to a pill, or a law, or a vaccine, or a government official, or mommy, or daddy, or a husband, or a kid. Take care of me, make me happy. If you don't, I'm going to be, you know.
Who's the greatest communicator that Kristina Leonardi ever heard?
I mean, Muhammad Ali just came to mind. that's just who came to mind. This is why. Obviously, he's got the showmanship, Muhammad Ali. But if you've seen interviews of him when he's really speaking from his heart and he's really speaking from that more quiet, reflective place, he's one of the most authentic people. That's an amazing communicator. And used his words. He was, obviously a great fighter, but, his words were really more of his tool and his physicality. He's someone that really used both as well.
How can people improve their communication skills?
Doing those two anchors. That's a place to start. The way that they can, because you have to know what it is you're thinking and feeling before you can communicate. And also get more in your heart. Because this is just, this is not truth. You know what I mean? So if you can keep accessing your heart and your gut, remember I said before, this just executes. So when I talk to people, like what I'm doing right now, or when I'm in front of an audience, or when I'm coaching someone, like all of the information is here and I'm just translating what I'm hearing and feeling and understanding. It's like, this is just an interpreter or a translator for what's going on over here. So again, that's now like, is that when I'm in like the grocery store or something? No, but like when I'm having real conversations, that's where it's coming from. That's where it's coming from. So again, like I was saying before, as a society, we're just operating on this mental level and no one's really connected to themselves, connected in a deeper way to their soul, spirit, emotions, gut, all of that. And then you integrate the two, and then that's where you're going to be the most effective communicator. And it's a process. It's not something that you can just take a pill or read a book. It's like every day. If you've been like this for 45 years, it's not going to change overnight. You have to do the work. It's like practice. It's like Michael Jordan going, practice dribbling every day. You got to sit with yourself every day. You got to journal. You got to see what comes up. You have to confront what comes up. You have to then change behaviors. You have to cry. People walk around emotionally constipated. We're an emotionally constipated society. I say it all the time. If you have a feeling, you got to feel the feeling. Otherwise, it just goes somewhere and it gets you all stuck. And then it takes up space and it like can cause physical problems, or it'll come out in these other ways, which, like I said before, people are communicating out of their pain. But if you just deal with the feelings as they come up in an appropriate way, an appropriate time, and this is again what my talk, by the way, is about on Mondays, like different tools in terms of how to process feelings, because especially in a time right now that's so extreme and so intense and so consequential, like everyone's stuff is coming up. Everyone's stuff is coming up, and it's coming up to the sense, and you can see it on a macro level with our country. It can't be ignored anymore. And so how are you going to deal with your stuff? How are you going to process your stuff? How are you going to heal it? And there are tools: crying, journaling, sound, movement. Like, we have to work through it. It's not just a mental thing. It's not just to read a book. It's not just take a pill. It's not just watch a video. It's you got to do it. Like a personal trainer, or when you're boxing, someone could teach you how to box, but if you don't actually get in the ring and throw some punches, you don't know how to box. You can read, you could watch every famous boxer in the world, but until you get in the ring with all that knowledge and then you do it, and that's your creative agency to be who you are.
Well, Kristina, thank you for stepping in the ring with me today. I really appreciate it. This information was amazing. I have a lot of ladies that I'm friends with. I love these ladies. I'm going to be sending this to them because I think this is a message they need to hear. Matter of fact, you know what? I got to get this. This is the last question. I got to get this in.
Yeah.
Women. What's going on with women right now? There are a few men, for some reason, they kind of, I don't know, they treat women in a certain way, not with respect. what's going on with women today? You know, I'm looking on the TV and the way women are treated in a certain way. Like, I got daughters, I got sisters, I got a mother,
Yeah.
I got granddaughters, so I
That's,
want them to be treated with respect.
yeah. That's a huge question. But I think there's two things happening.
That's a whole interview in itself, right?
Well, it really is, but let me see if I could, you know, talk about it in like 2 minutes. So what's happening is like there's been an imbalance. So if we go back to like the left brain, right, yin yang, feminine, masculine, like there's been an imbalance, right? So the masculine, left brain, linear, testosterone, like that's what has ruled things for a while now, or the patriarchy, whatever you want to call it. I don't want to make this political at all. But the energy, right? Masculine energy is what has run the planet. So not only just like our structures, the government and society, but also the way we operate, like I was saying before, like the linear, logical, all that kind of stuff. The feminine is the caring, the creative, the intuitive, the collaborative, all of that. So generally masculine energy is embodied by a man. Generally, feminine energy is embodied by a woman. It's not always that way, and we have both energies inside of us, okay? But so for the purpose of this comment, I would say what's happening is that like the balance is it's like we're trying to fix that imbalance. And so it's getting a little unwieldy. I think it's good. I think what's happening now for everyone is that we're detoxing everything. So we're detoxing racism, we're detoxing sexism, and all of that. So all of these things that have been there all along are really now coming up to be looked at, which is the same thing with our individual lives, which is what I said before. But like, so as women are gaining more power and strength, some men don't like that, you know, and so there's going to be some issues with that. That's part of what's happening, is like they don't want to let go of their power that they've had this whole time. They don't like women getting the power, right? But I also think that there's another issue here of women thinking that they're empowered by operating like a man, right? Because in general, our society, what is our definition of power? And because we've only seen male expressions of power, because even women who have gotten into leadership positions in our world, they generally have had to behave like a man, right? They're women, they're in a female body, but they're really operating still masculine to get to where they were. And so what I believe is the huge part of this huge transformation is, what does feminine power look like? What does feminine power look like? And that's different. It's different than masculine power. And so how do women tap into that, and how do we integrate this all? We're in a messy time, but I think that for women to be able to balance that within themselves, most women need to learn how to be more assertive, right? But to integrate that, so we all need to, and men, I do a lot of work with men actually, and the work that I do with men is helping them, you know, tap into that right brain, you know, to the feminine, more creative, intuitive side. And so when everybody gets their masculine and feminine more balanced, that's also when things are going to be a lot better. But it's just messy right now, you know, it's just messy. So again, it goes back to, because we're in between, right? We're in between. This transformative time is just massive, you know, it's transformation on many, many different levels. But you're in this body at this particular moment as an adult, because this is your real profound big shot to heal and get balanced. Like they're so in our favor for that, but it's a lot. It's like, if you're not used to that work, it can be overwhelming and you just want to shut down. But the more of us who can balance our feminine and masculine energies and integrate all of that, again, that's just gonna like ripple out and create a much more balanced, harmonious society for everybody.
Right. Before we leave, your contact information, how people can reach you to get more information about your coaching, group coaching, which we didn't get a chance to talk about group coaching, but just give your contact information. We're going to do it again, Kristina.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk more. So again, I think the best thing that you guys can do is text clearly Kristina to the number 22828. But you can also Google my name. So you'll put it, this is going to be on YouTube, right? So you can put my name, Kristina Leonardi, Google my name, and you can look at all my social media. That's the best way you can find me. Just Google me. I actually have I have other talks on YouTube. So you go to my YouTube channel if you want to see some of my full-length lectures. You can go on YouTube and do that as well. But this has been such a joy, Rick. I really appreciate
you.
On, and your questions are just really good questions. So this was just as special for me. So
I should have worn my library shirt to show you the value of libraries.
Yes.
I love libraries, and that's where we met.
Yes.
Thank you, Kristina. We're going to do it again. Continued success and blessings to you and your family.
Absolutely. And same to you. Take care.
Okay.
Rick.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Mm.